welcome to Wearing the Herd is Tiffany YouTube channel. So on today's video, we will be talking about how to walk and drive across the border from San Diego, California to Tijuana, Mexico. So let's get straight into it. When I first took my first trip over there, I was super afraid. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know how it was gonna work, but I had a scheduled dental appointment. So basically what I did was I parked the car near the border. They have lots of different places where you can park, and it may have been like $8 for like 8 hours. I don't really remember, don't quote me, but find a parking space next to the border. After you found your parking space, you literally begin to walk down the street. Walk on the same side as the train. You'll see it. If you are confused about which way to walk, somebody will help you, I promise you. So as you go, you'll first see the border. There is a long walk. In the video after I talk, you will see the walk that I'm talking about. You go straight down, and then you'll hit like this kind of revolving metal door, and at the top it'll say Mexico, so therefore that's where you know you're entering in. So once you enter into those metal bars, you then stand in the line for them to check your passport. So remember to have your passport. You cannot get through without having your passport. My cousin that was with me, I asked her, did she have her passport? And she told me she did, but she really didn't. And we found out soon enough as we're trying to get across the border, she did not have her passport, so they wouldn't let her in. So make sure you have that passport. You can have a passport card as well, but that is something that when you apply for your passport, it'll ask you, do you want a passport card or do you want a passport? So the passport card is actually good for like walking into Mexico, but it's not good for flying. So because she didn't have her passport, she was basically escorted back out across the border. And so that's why I say the importance of making sure you bring it. So once you get through that particular line, they look at it really quickly, and then you continue on. There is a little portion where like you put your bags through there so they can just check it to make sure, you know, there's nothing in there. And then you continue through that door, and then you have to walk another, I'm bad with calculations, y'all, so let's say it's another mile or maybe less than a mile. So you just keep walking. There's people there. You'll know how to follow the trail. And then once you follow the trail into there, there's another kind of like revolving metal door, and then you're basically in Tijuana, Mexico. And so because I went for the dental one time, the taxi from the dental picked me up, but then there was another time where I wasn't going to a dentist appointment, and I literally called an Uber. And so the Uber is very easy to use. Check with your carrier to make sure that you have Wi-Fi, internet. I noticed that I had called right before I went to the border and said, hey, can you make the plan where I can have Wi-Fi, because I knew I needed the Uber. And initially it wasn't working, but make sure you turn your phone off and then turn it back on, because you are entering a new country. And then your Uber works just like it would if you were in the US. There are taxis there, but of course the taxis are going to try to charge you double, triple the price. But just know that the Uber is much cheaper. Actually super, super cheap to get around in Mexico. So use that if you have that on your phone, okay? Next. So this is where we parked the car. You find a 24-hour parking station. These are the rates right here. So we'll pay when we get back. So now we're actually about to walk across the border to see how this works. And I guess up here, I'm going to show you where you can exchange money. In Mexico, they have pesos. So, here's the station to change. We're not exchanging money though, because we're just going straight to the dentist. So, I'll let you guys know more later. So, there's a parking garage. This is the train station. This is the port of entry. And we're gonna go over into Mexico. We are at the border. Leela, tell her, are you afraid to cross? She's afraid, y'all.
I'm a little nervous. I feel very unprepared.
Why do you feel unprepared?
Because we didn't prepare for this. We had no idea how to cross. We didn't know where to park. We have no idea where we're going. What is it called?
Can't have weapons.
Huh?
Can't have weapons.
You cannot?
No. Yeah, I'm breathing hard into the phone because it's a little walk to get to this border. This is just a little thing that you walk through right here. Hey peeps, I'm back at the border for a second time. This is just walking through.
Sí, esto hace como un mes y medio y no le han caído. O sea, está bien chistoso eso.
So easy to walk across. I literally went by in like not even a minute, but it's a long walkway down to the bottom. So this is me just showing you the walk down, and there's a bunch of taxis over there, and there'll be more taxis like when I get to the end. But I'm gonna call Uber to get to my destination. Technically, I am at the border. So hey y'all, I am across the border now. This is where all the that's more like a community transportation. There's taxis everywhere. The taxi guy was trying to charge me $20. They are selling food. But I currently finally got the Uber to work. I turned the Uber on and turned it back off, and so it should be working now. The taxi driver wanted to charge me $20, or then he dropped it down to 300 pesos, but Uber should be much cheaper. So I'll let y'all know how the Uber ride is once the Uber gets here. I am in the Uber now. With my Uber driver. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, bien.
Bean, okay, there's my Uber driver. So we are headed to a city called Playas. So yeah, I'll let you know when I get there. It was pretty easy. Let me see if I can turn the camera around. We're going to talk about how to get back across the border. So basically, if you're a taxi cab or your Uber, you want to go to the border, they know exactly where it is. They'll drop you off, and there's maybe a long line. I went several times. Sometimes the line is long and sometimes the line is short. So this one particular time, what you'll see in the video, the line was super long, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna be standing this line for a very long time. Actually, the line moved pretty quickly. And then once you get through one portion of the line, then there is another line that you have to go through, right? And you'll see all of this later. But what I didn't know the first time around was because I had global entry, or if you have Century, then you're literally able to bypass that entire line and go straight to the front. There's usually hardly nobody in the global and the Century line. Okay, so what is global and what is Century? So basically, I have the Chase Sapphire card, which there's a video on that if you're interested. But basically, my Chase Sapphire card came with global entry. Global entry is $100 if you don't have that particular card. Sign up. It's $100 for 5 years, so it's definitely worth it, and has been super helpful with me crossing the border. So let's say somebody who didn't have global entry, that line could be anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to 2 hours. You just never know. I believe there's a Facebook group that helps you determine what the time is. But the point is, get that global entry because it will save you a lot of time walking across the border, okay? I will say with the global entry, make sure that you register it. When you're flying, there's no problem. But when you're walking across the border, if it is not registered, they will flag you. I have gotten flagged every time I walk across the border because I forget every time to register it, okay? So very quickly, like I said, it can take 5 minutes to walk into Mexico and another 10 minutes to walk out if you have that global entry. If you don't, like I said, you could be standing in line for a little bit of time. So super, super easy, nothing to be afraid of. And yeah, I think anybody can do it. Okay.
So this is the line for exiting. I think these are the cars that are exiting, so long, long line. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is the line to the back. Oh no. Oh my god, y'all. This is a long line from standing to get back into the US. Oh my god, I was not expecting this, y'all. This is a entry to get back over the
Let's move on to driving across the border because many people want to drive in. So literally they say if you keep driving, you can end up in Mexico and not know. It's so true. So there's a freeway when you're driving from LA to San Diego, and literally you can keep going if you're driving your car. There's no signs, there's nothing stopping you until you get to a certain point, and then you will come across the border again. So I've done this at least twice, and so I'll give you a couple different scenarios. The first time is very simple to go in. Nobody asks any questions going in, but when you're coming back out, again, it depends on if you have that global entry or that century to go back through. So again, I made a mistake, and let me tell y'all what my mistake was. My mistake was, like I had mentioned just a couple minutes ago, I did not register for this card. So as we're driving out of Tijuana, because I wasn't registered, we had to do something called secondary. And so secondary is basically when they literally search your entire car. Like, you have to get out the car, they have to pop your trunk, they have to look under your hood, and in some instances they search you. My friend got searched. And I was curious as to why he got searched. He was a black male, and they didn't search me as a black female. I still don't know why they searched him, but just know that that could be a possibility. So I'm thinking, dang, all of this because I just didn't register the car. And so I'm like, why do they need to look under a hood? What's going on? So the reason why they need to do this is because literally people are trying to smuggle illegal substances and literally people, y'all. So story time really quickly. I'm looking over to the left of me and I see them handcuff this guy. So I'm thinking, what is going on? Like, did he have something? I looked back a little bit further and he was literally trying to smuggle another person. And it actually looked to be a teenager, and so it really sucked, and it was kind of comical because the guy was like, what? How did they get back there? And I started laughing. I'm thinking, like, because you put him back there. But then I began to kind of sober up, and I'm like, what would make him lose his privilege, his American passport, by smuggling other people in. And I just really made me think about like my privilege with my blue passport, meaning that I don't have to smuggle anybody in. My family's from the US. If I want to go to Thailand, if I want to go to Cuba, I can go to these places, but not everybody has that privilege. So it really just made me kind of humble myself and to think about like I'm really blessed to be able to travel other places, whereas other people have to make these sacrifices to like literally bring their family over across the border for a different life. Yes, it could have been for something bad, but in my heart, I wanted to believe that he literally took the chance of trying to smuggle people in, but bringing people over for a better life. So sorry I went off on a tangent right there, but that's just to show you about making sure that you register the car. And I guess even if my car wasn't registered, if they think of anything suspicious, they'll say go into the secondary line. So that may be some of the things that you see there. So making sure you're not putting anything illegal in your car because you don't want to get stopped and get arrested at the border.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, whatever. Anybody can come in.
Unless if they pull us over, which... Guy, it's open, so just go.
Go around this little thing. I know, but it seems like we was to the left. Go up there,
Okay, we are leaving Tijuana. So you have a ready lane right here. You have the Century. Oh, I don't know if you
This
guys
is
can
actually
see that.
Century. All this
Oh,
is
this
Century.
is all Century. Okay.
Up to here.
So we're going through here. And
So,
look at, we just point
look.
our card right here.
One.
We both have global entry.
I want to show you the card, but...
Yeah, so you guys get global entry. It's only like $100, and I got it with my card from
Credit card.
Chase. Yeah, but even if you don't have the credit card, I still highly recommend it. Especially if you're like me, going across the border all the time. It's highly recommended. So I am currently at the border right now, and I have global entry, and because I didn't activate it, we are now stuck in secondary. So when you cross the border, if you have global entry, make sure you activate your card so that you are not stuck right here. And if you can see up above, they make you open your trunk and your hood, and the purpose of that is because people literally try to smuggle people from Mexico to the US. So I see the purpose of it, but I kind of don't see the purpose of it just because the card is not activated. But yeah, don't be like me. Another thing I want to talk about really quickly is if you do not have a passport and you want to go into Mexico. So I thought that you needed a passport to go to the Tijuana border, and this is specifically for Tijuana. I'm not talking about any other parts of Mexico. So my father has started doing dental work like me, and he doesn't have a passport. So I said, oh no, Dad, you cannot go, you need to have a passport. And he's like, but I heard you can go. Okay, let's try it. So basically, like I told you, you drive on in, everything's okay. But when you're coming back out of Mexico, you do have to show your ID, and I will show your passport just in case. So you can travel to Mexico without a passport, but it has to be driving. Again, I don't think it's going to work walking. The only instance I've heard of it working while you're walking is if you like pay them under the table, but I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. Just know that there are different ways to do this. So again, I'll recap really quickly. You can either walk across the border or drive across the border. And yes, you can go to Mexico without a passport. I don't suggest it, but if you just have to go over there, make sure that you bring your passport and your ID to show that you are a citizen of the US. Again, after this talk, you will actually get a chance to see everything I'm talking about because the video showcases that. And I hope that this video is helpful in case you want to go across the border. And it's called the San Ysidro border. That's YSIDRO. And it's very easy to do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope it was information to help you get safely and accurately across the border. All right, thank you. Peace.